All right, we are live, and today we're going to be looking at the Advanced Player's Guide. So, for Paizo's Pathfinder Second Edition, I know some of you out there uh, still haven't bought into Paizo Pathfinder Second Edition, so you might be here with questions about that I am more than happy to try and answer for you. But ultimately we're going to be previewing the Advanced Player's Guide. Now, I did get this yesterday. I did attempt to go through this last night while Paula was painting Caladrax. I was obviously going through it, and I was a little distracted. I was so excited about this. It took about an hour and a half into the stream before I realized, oh, we haven't dove into this yet. So just a moment. Okay, sorry about that. Small children. So, anyways, we tried to go over the Advanced Player's Guide last night while on stream, and about an hour and a half in, realized, hey, we are not actually streaming. So that was kind of a foobar on my part. Kind of messed that up, but decided why not do a special stream today. A couple people expressed interest in the Discord, which, if you're interested, Discord link down below, and all that good stuff. So let's dive into this. So there's some really cool stuff in here. I made it through the whole book last night. I didn't read everything. Like, I didn't just sit there and read everything, but I jumped around, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I really like. So looking at the page count, right? There's 274 pages total in this PDF. You've got about 46 for Ancestries and backgrounds, common backgrounds, rare backgrounds. And so of the new Ancestries, I'm not really into the catfolk idea, but that's just a personal preference. It's not because of how it's designed or anything like that. I just have no interest in playing catfolk. But I thought the kobold right off the bat looked really cool. The orc seemed fine. Like, it's on par for an orc. Rat folk actually was kind of cool. Not something I thought that I would be interested in. Tengu, again, is kind of just in line with what you would think they would be. There's some cool stuff there. The versatile heritages are really cool. I love how you get rid of... So basically, you can take any ancestry, and then rather than selecting the heritage, you select one of the versatile heritages. So Changeling, Dampier, Aasimar, Tiefling, and the other one. It's like a spirit one. So I really do like how they did that. There's new feats based on your ancestries in here. The goblin, once I got to the goblin, I was ecstatic. There's some cool stuff for the goblin. The squishy goblin is really cool. So I got really excited about it. Getting into the classes. So the classes is almost 100 pages, right? You've got the new classes, the 4 new classes. The 4 new classes, Investigator, Oracle, Swashbuckler, and Witch. Now, off the bat, I don't really care too much about the Investigator, and I don't care too much about the Swashbuckler. Again, personal preference. The Oracle is really cool because of how, like, casting your special spells can also lead to you, a curse, basically. So you got different tiers of the curse, like minor, major, and whatever. Like, there's 3 different tiers. And it can either mean that things get harder or it helps you a lot more. So I was looking at the Ancestor one, for example. And so you roll randomly to determine which ancestor is aiding or working against you. So, for example, it might be a martial ancestor, and you might be spellcasting. Well, the martial ancestor is going to prevent you from being able to do a lot of your spellcasting. They're going to distract you. They're going to, anytime you do something that's not in their character, like, and how they would do it, again, you get a little curse thing. However, if you go and strike it with your staff, you're going to be like a +3 to damage or whatever, which is really cool. So I got really excited about that. I like how they've done that. I didn't go through all of them, but just looking at that one, I was like, okay, this is cool, and I can imagine how it's applied to others. The witch, basically a warlock, is really cool as well. You get a patron, you get a animal familiar. It's really well done. It's basically what you would expect. You can have at first level a cauldron, or things like that. It's good. It's. I think it's going to be one of my favorites in this book. And reading up on the goblins and then going through the classes, I was like, a goblin witch would be awesome, in my opinion. So we got the goblin witch. In my opinion, that would be really cool. Some new stuff they added to some of the classes. Again, I went through all of them again. I skipped over some stuff. I skipped over like Bard and things like that. You got evil champions. The barbarians, which is a class that's one of my favorites. I love the stuff they've added to that. Like you can charge. Basically, you can use it. I don't remember what it's called, but you get a charging action. You can do 2 moves and bust through like a door or a barrel or a table or whatever. And I thought that was really cool. And it's only 2 actions rather than 3. So basically, you get to interact with an object for free. And you also get a circumstance bonus to like busting through the door, for example. Another one that was basically the same thing, but rather than inanimate objects, it was creatures. So you get to attack, and go through them. So like you can move some of your movement, hit one, and then continue the movement. And it's only 2 actions. And that they did this so that you can say get to the bad guy while clearing a path, right? So that one's really cool. Another one is using like boulders and tables and wagons to hurl them at your enemies and do 1d10 damage or up to 3d10 damage, I think is what it was. That was really cool as well. So love what they did with the barbarian. The champion, you can now do evil champions, and they have their own different abilities based on if they're lawful evil, neutral evil, or chaotic evil. And it opens up new abilities that are specific to those, and things like that. The monk has a whole ton more stances. The druid, actually, I didn't read the druid really. The ranger has a whole bunch of spell type abilities now. The rogue there's a lot of like really cool things like tumbling through characters' legs and stuff like that. Just really cool acrobatic type of stuff. There's a lot of choices for the wizard that makes the wizard feel a little more unique. You can have a staff now. They can hold spells and things like that. So anyways, done sitting on the table of contents. Oh, whoops. I was on the wrong thing. Let me click back on here. There we go. All right. Feats. There's a bunch of new feats. Obviously you get the class ones and all that, but there's a bunch of new general feats. There's a lot of new spells. A lot of these spells are tied to the different class choices in this book too. New items. Some new racial items. Stuff like that. I love the art. Again, I always talk about the art because the art stands out. I love Paizo's art. So right here, just off the bat, the cat folk, the kobold, and the rat folk, a lot of color. It really pops. It's something my wife will be drawn to for sure. So the kobold, there was some stuff I really like about the kobold, and I'll get into it here in a second. But the kobold now, it has like a minor breath weapon thing that it can have at low levels. You also can have like a poisonous tail. So for example, first level for the venom tail kobold is the tail toxin. So you can basically poison your weapon as an action and then attack. But there's kobold breath. You channel your draconic power into a gout of energy that manifests as a 30-foot line or a 15-foot cone. Like, that's cool. It's not super powerful. It's a 1d4. It goes up by another 1d4 at 3rd level and every 2 levels after. I love that. But later on, as you level up, say at level 9, you want to take Dragon's Breath. It's a little bit better. It's longer, you know. Uh, so yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, you have to have Cobalt Breath first, but I just think that's really cool, right? A lot of flavor. So again, the orc is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not trying to like read everything in this book, right? If you guys have questions, feel free to post them. I will happily answer any questions you have. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat. Okay. Looks like 4 of you are watching right now. Thank you for tuning in. Let me do a quick little refresh. Yeah, or 3 people. Sorry. All right. Cool. So the sewer rat stuff. The different types of rats are kind of cool. The deep rat, desert rat, long snout rat. The deep rat gets dark vision. Desert rat in extreme heat doesn't suffer exhaustion as quickly. However, in the cold, suffers the penalties of that more. Long snout rat can sniff out the presence of where people are. All that kind of stuff. You kind of get where it's going. So there's some cool stuff here. The cheek pouches, the pack rat, the rat familiar was cool. There's just some good things. Almost every ancestry has some kind of a bite thing in Pathfinder 2e, it seems. So in this one, it's obviously the vicious incisors. But there's a lot of things that have a bite attack, which I think is interesting. Obviously, you can get it from your mutagens, and you can get it from the barbarian, the animal one. You can get stuff from being druids and wild shaping, and or whatever it's called. I can't think of what it's called right now. But yeah. So anyways, just some really cool stuff though with the rats. Tengu. You got the Jinx Tengu, Mountain Keeper Tengu, Skyborn, Storm Tossed, and Taloned. It is what it is, right? You get the typical kind of things there. There's a reoccurring theme almost across all the ancestries, right? The Tengu lore, right? Almost every ancestry has their set lore, and that's cool. Like I can see why someone might take that. Long-nosed form. Tengu weapon study. Eclectic sword training. Soaring flight, so you can fly at 9th level. Good stuff. So this is the part I got really excited about. Versatile heritages. Changeling Dampier, Aasimar, Duskwalker, that's what it was. And then the Tiefling. So again, it's just like another thing that you kind of layer onto your character's ancestries, and rather than taking a normal heritage, you would take one of these as the heritage. So they're really good though. Changeling, Dampier, which is basically a vampire. There's some cool things you get from that. Aasimar. So we were looking through this. The thing that stood out because my wife loves Aasimar. So we were talking about this. Apparently pre-stream last night. And I said at level 9 you could get celestial wings. And she's like, what? And she got all excited. So, and then angel magic or angelic magic and stuff. Anyways. So the Duskwalker is more like a ghost-based ancestry or heritage. Ooh. I don't know. I was looking at it. It looks interesting. It would probably work really well in specific types of campaigns. So, and then the Tiefling is kind of like the opposite of the Aasimar. Like you get the flying at the same level. You get the demon magic at the same level. Fiendish strikes at the same level as angelic or celestial strike. So they basically took the Aasimar and it seems like they just kind of reversed it, which is fine. By the way, if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you'd hit subscribe, give us a little like, all that good stuff. Dwarven feats. Eye for treasure. What is it? So I didn't read all these last night. You know good artisanship when you see it and can wax poetic about crafting techniques and forms. You become trained in crafting and gain a +1 circumstance bonus on all crafting checks made to recall knowledge. If you would automatically become trained in crafting from your background or class, for example, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. That's kind of cool. Dwarven reinforcement. You can use your knowledge of engineering and metalwork to temporarily strengthen thick object. Oh, okay. That was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be like, hey, you can summon dwarves to come help you. All right, so that's cool. Elves, what did they get? Ancestral suspicion. Okay. Otherworldly acumen. Tree climber. Some of these I feel like were in the core book, but I guess not. I don't know. And I haven't actually made a lot of characters yet, so in the core book. So having this is just like, whoa, so many options. All right, so what do we got here? Okay, gnomes. Someone I think asked me about gnomes last night. Razzle dazzle. You've spent considerable time practicing the manipulation of light, weaponizing your blade's reflection or bolstering the luminosity of magical displays to unconventional heights. Extend the duration of the blinded or dazzled condition you give the target by 1 round. Oh, snap. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right, goblins. Yes. Extra squishy. You're rubbery. So when I first read that, I was like, why would someone want to be extra squishy? Like, that just sounds crazy. Like, you're going to get hurt more. No. It's not like that at all. Your rubbery physique makes it easier for you to wedge yourself into tight spaces and more difficult for your enemies to dislodge you. You become trained in acrobatics. If you would automatically become trained in acrobatics from your background or class, instead become trained in a skill of your choice. If you roll a success to squeeze, you get a critical success instead. While you're squeezing, you gain a +4 circumstance bonus to your fortitude or reflex DCs against attempts to shove you or otherwise move you from your space. Yes, like that just sounds so much fun. That's so flavorful. I would probably I think a goblin witch would be cool. And then like maybe you have a character in your party that'll like carry you in their backpack or something, and you can squeeze in there and like hide well or whatever. I don't know. I think that might be kind of fun. The other one that stood out, kneecap. Basically, you deliver a punishing blow to an enemy's knee, shin, or other vulnerable anatomy within your reach. Like, come on, that's just funny, right? Like, I don't know, just a little ankle biter, basically. Love it. Loud singer. Staying on pitch, proper breath control, and remembering the words are all less important than the real measure of a good singer, volume. The range of your goblin song is increased to 60 feet, and you can target 1 additional enemy when you use it. Like, that's cool. I don't know. There's just good stuff in here. Cling, reckless abandon. Halflings. So the Jinx feature negates the luck, but you can apply clumsy to an enemy, so that's all right. Prairie Rider sounds interesting. Dance Underfoot, Step Lively, both of those seem cool. Basically, you can like as a reaction move out of the way of a monster, basically that just close the distance with you, which would basically make it use another action to move that extra 5 feet to attack you. Dance Underfoot, you can basically like tumble through it and share the same square as it. So that's cool. Let's see. Human. So I didn't really pay attention to this one either. I skipped this one. Advanced general training, bounce back. Yeah, I don't know. Humans are all right. Common backgrounds, a bunch of backgrounds. Root worker, tax collector, squire, teacher, scavenger, ward, servant. Amnesiac. Basically, you don't know your background. Like, you are expected to either figure it out as you play the game or work on it with the game master. for clues and piecing things together, or just let the game master come up with it for you and clue you in as you play. Really cool. These are really cool right here. So I love those. Haunted. We went over that one a little bit last night. Look at that. That's some nice, colorful art right there. Classes. So the new classes. I'm not going to go too far into all of these. Investigator, you know, it is kind of what you'd expect, right? 8 Constitution, that's cool. Expert in Perception, right? Because he needs to be able to investigate. Light armor, unarmored defense, simple martial weapons, unarmed attacks. It's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes thing. I mean, if that's what you want to play, that's cool. I don't really have any interest in it, personally. It's just my own thing. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure I'll play it someday, but, right now it's not a big deal to me. Trap Finder, right? That's cool. Underworld Investigator. Come on, let's get to the next one. The Oracle. So this one is cool. It was obviously you get spell casting. It's your mystery. So your mystery is cool. So this is what I was talking about earlier with like Ancestors. But there's like a battle one, a bones one, cosmos, flames, life, lore, and tempest. And then you get revelation spells. And if you cast those, that's when you have to go to your curse. So here, let me get over to that. So then, like, you can go through, it's separated into then the types of mysteries, right? So it goes over those. You get a different trained skill, a specific cantrip, revelation spells, which are the ones that are going to cause you to go to your table. Related domains. Tells you a little bit about the curse, the minor curse, moderate curse, major curse. But you have to go to a table for that one. Let's see. What is one I'm kind of interested in? There's flames. Let's look at life. The mystery benefit. Your body is a deep reservoir of life energy. At each level, you gain hit points equal to 10 plus your con modifier from the Oracle class instead of 8. So basically, you have more hit points. Trained skill, medicine. Granted cantrip, stabilize. Revelation spells, life link, advanced. Delay, affliction, I think. Greater life giving form. Minor curse, as your life force seeps outward, it becomes more difficult to keep your body functioning. Effects that restore hit points to you take a status penalty equal to half your level to the number of HP you recover. So it's harder to heal you. That's no good. That's no good at all. I don't like that. That's just the minor version. Like, geez. Major is worse. But anyways, there's some flavor there, right? All the different abilities. Swashbuckler, again, not my thing. If that's what you're into, that's cool. Looks like you get some cool reactions. Nimble dodge, dueling parry, your next, charmed life, guardian's deflection. I don't know, cool stuff. And then the witch. So again, this one I just thought was kind of cool. Obviously you have to choose a patron, and then a familiar. Now, the patrons are left pretty open. It's more like not a domain, but like here they are. So they're themes. So curse, fate, fervor, night, rune, wild, winter. Those are the different patrons. Again, I actually kind of like that rather than saying like, oh, your specific patron is this. I like that it's a little bit more open. That's kind of cool. Because then you can kind of spin it however you want. Oh, that's what it was. So earlier I talked about the cauldron, or you could do cackle. I don't know why, but I feel like having someone roleplay a cackle at your table every time they're doing their little hex spell. I don't know. I just like that. They also can get counterspell at first level. I don't know. I'll have to look how that works more specifically, but that seems pretty awesome. Seems really awesome to me. Reach spell, widen spell, you know, a lot of good like witchy, warlocky things, right? You can make your familiar better. Incredible familiar at 8th level. It's imbued with even more magic than other familiars. You can select a base of 6 familiar or master abilities each day instead of 4. Add the bonus familiar abilities you gain for being a witch to this amount. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Basically, your familiar is a big deal. The Alchemist. So at first level, you get subtle delivery. Yeah, it's basically a dart, a blow dart that you can poison people with. There's no mutagen feat. I was kind of hoping you'd get like a mutagen feat at level 1. You don't. Level 4, healing bomb. That's cool. Barbarian. So barbarian feats: adrenaline rush, draconic arrogance. There it was. Bashing charge. That's where you get to move twice and then destroy something like a door or a fence or a wall. Barreling charge is where you get to do the attack thing that I was talking about. So I really like that. And then the oversized throw, which is also 4th level. I loved that as well. Mage Hunter at level 6. You use your hatred of magic to lash out at the sight of spellcasting, allowing you to interrupt an enemy's spell. Make a melee strike against the triggering creature. If the attack is a critical hit, you disrupt the spell. Nice. But you have to be within like 5 feet. Let's see. Friendly toss. You toss your friends around the battlefield. Pick up an adjacent ally of your size or smaller and throw them to an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet. Their movement doesn't trigger reactions. Your ally ends this movement on their feet and doesn't take damage from the fall. If your ally ends this movement within melee reach of at least one enemy, they can make a melee strike against an enemy within their reach as a reaction. That's cool as hell. I think I might be a barbarian in real life. Why? Because you want to toss your friends around? Like, that's, like, friendly toss is really cool. Like, it's just good stuff in here, man. And I mean, like, all right, friendly toss. We've all played, like, role-playing games where the halfling has been tossed or the dwarf has been tossed, and, like, you know, we've always made it an attack roll, and yeah, it did like 1d6 like falling damage, right? I don't know. That's like basically it's a house rule that everyone always has done. This builds it into the game and gives it a little bit more like, hey, you can throw them anywhere. They land on their feet and now they can attack, right? That's cool. No, because OP magic enrages me. Yeah, I got you there. Overpowering charge. You trample your foes as you charge past them. When you use barreling charge and successfully move through a creature's space, that creature takes bludgeoning damage equal to your strength modifier. If you critically succeed, the creature takes twice the amount of damage and becomes flat-footed until the end of your next turn. That's cool. Barbarians are great, man. Like, I love it. I'm so tired. I had a hard time getting some sleep last night. More stuff that works against spellcasters. Unstoppable Juggernaut. You have become, this is level 20, obviously. You've become a brutal, unstoppable force of nature, able to shrug off mortal wounds with ease. You gain resistance equal to 3 plus your con mod. to all damage, and your resistance from raging increases to 8 plus your con mod. In addition, if you are reduced to 0 hit points while raging, you can end your rage as a reaction to stay at 1 hit point. If you do, you become wounded 2, or increase your wounded condition 2 if you are already wounded. Ooh, I like it. All right, bards, whatevs. So here's what I was talking about with the evil champions. You got the Tyrant, which is lawful evil, Desecrator, neutral evil, and the Anti-Paladin, who's chaotic evil. And then from there, there's different reactions. So the Iron Command, Selfish Shield, and Destructive Vengeance. And then some of these abilities are for some of those specifically. There are some that don't have to do with being evil that they've added. It is what it is. I mean, nothing like that I'm really excited about from here when I was reading it last night, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Cleric. Martyr, that one was cool. You go to extreme lengths. This is a level 8 feat. You go to extreme lengths to support your allies, even when it means bringing harm to yourself. If your next action is to cast harm or heal from your healing or harmful font to restore hit points to a single ally, you can channel your own vitality along with the spell. You lose 1d8 hit points per level of the spell, which can't be reduced or mitigated in any way, and your ally regains an equal number of hit points. So not only are you going to heal them, you're going to give them yours too, right? Kenneth says, anyone remember the Stargate MMO and failed to launch because Universal Studios are twits? I do not. Shield of Faith, Ebb and Flow, Remediate, Shared Clarity, Druid, Verdant Weapon, Elemental Summons, Leshy Familiar Secrets, Current Spell, Pristine Weapon, Fighter, Combat Assessment. So basically you can assess your enemies and find out stuff about them. So that's kind of cool. They also get Barreling Charge, just like the Barbarian, which is really cool. That's the one we are clearing way through the enemies, by the way. They get a stance, a ricochet stance. You adopt a stance designed to rebound your thrown weapons back toward you. While you are in this stance, any thrown weapons you use as part of a ranged strike to deal bludgeoning or slashing damage immediately return to your hand, enabling you to use them for additional strikes. You must be within the weapon's listed range. So basically, it's ricochet stance is the Captain America thing. Basically, you can throw your shield. So Drake, in Pathfinder, as you level up, you make choices, and these feats are the choices. So, obviously at first level, you get to make a choice, and second level, you get to make a choice, and fourth level, it's basically the even number levels after first level. You get to choose one. So this is where you make your character unique. Obviously at, fourth level, you get 2 new ones from this book, but there's like 4 or 5 in the other book. So you're talking about 6 different options, and they're all very different. So again, that's why I really like Pathfinder. Just because of the customization, Overpowering Charge, Overwhelming Blow, that uses all 3 actions. That's pretty cool. Monks. So monks get a ton of stances. The stances allow them like different things. So Gorilla Stance, it looks like it gives them 1d. You can slam unarmed attacks. These deal 1d8 bludgeoning damage, are in the Brawling group, and have the backswing, forceful grapple, non-lethal, and unarmed traits. While you are in the Gorilla Stance, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to athletics checks to climb. And if you roll a success on an athletics check to climb, you get a critical success instead. So monks can spend an action to go into a stance that then gives them like different types of situational bonuses, different abilities. It's really cool. It's like I was saying last night to Paula. I don't think we caught this on stream, but I told her I was like, it's when you watch The Matrix and they program Neo with a new style of fighting, and all of a sudden he changes how he's fighting, and then he's able to do new stuff. That's basically what a monk is with their stances. So there's some good stuff there. Rangers, I love Rangers, by the way, in Pathfinder. The core book, they are not spellcasters. This book gives you feats that have to do with spells, all right? So a lot of them give you new spells. Like Gravity Weapon. You gain the Gravity Weapon Warden spell and a focus pool of 1 focus point. So in this, there's regular spells. There's also like focus spells. And so focus spells don't use like spell slots, they use focus points. So it's you have different ways to cast spells too. Some classes have both, like a cleric will have both. So you have like your spells per day, but then you also have your focus spells. So yeah, Ranger adds some spell casting basically. And Rangers are one of the better classes if you are going to do multiple attacks per round, because they get less penalties than like other classes. Rogue, it looks like they're adding Eldritch Trickster and Mastermind. But so Rogues have this cool like tumble behind feature. You tumble behind, blah blah blah. Some like very roguey things here, right? Strong arm, underhanded assault, mug, head stomp. Head stomp is a curb stomp. Like that's pretty brutal. Like especially if you're role playing that. But good stuff here. Bullseye. So I would actually play a rogue based on what I'm reading here. Sorcerer, there's new like bloodlines, which is cool. There's the genie, the nymph, psychopomp, shadow. And then obviously you get new feats. Some reactions. So not all classes have reactions. Like not every class can do an attack of opportunity. And it looks like they've added some reactions for some of the classes that don't get a lot of options there. So that's cool. I don't know. Wizards. So you can be a staff nexus now, which basically means you have a staff that can hold some of your spell slots. So you can charge it with a spell and then later on use that spell. But you have to cast a spell to charge your wand up or your staff up, and it'll hold it until, however many days later when you actually use it. So that's kind of cool. It also has a cantrip of its own. Spellbook Prodigy sounds cool. Non-lethal spell. Second chance spell mastery, forcible energy. There's new animal companions. You can have an ape, arboreal sapling, a bat, a boar, crocodile, riding drake, a scorpion, a shark. New stuff for familiars. Fairy dragon, imp, spell slime. Good stuff. Archetypes, I'm not fully sure on how that exactly works. I think it's like kind of like a multi-classing deal. I think it's a carryover from like 3.5 and Pathfinder 1E. I got to figure out how that stuff works. Hey, look, it looks like Spider-Man, the acrobat. So I just got to figure out how archetypes work a little more. I'm just going to skip over it. By the way, he looks kind of cool. The Dragon Disciple. Dual Weapon Warrior. Duelist. Eldritch Archer. Blue Dragon says, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Yeah, this book is awesome. It really is. Like, you guys should go buy it. I'll post a link here in a minute. In fact, I should probably post that now, shouldn't I? I'm going to get you guys a link to my Amazon affiliate. And if you feel like supporting the channel, you buy from there and I get like 50 cents per book sold probably. I don't know. It's not very much, but it's something. And it doesn't charge you guys anything, so. So that's the plus. And I think it's coming to... Oh, come on. Why is it acting funky? There we go. It's coming to Amazon on August 5th. So you're talking about 2 weeks. So you can pre-order it. And then, you know, get it around that time, right? There's the link for you guys. And then I'll put it down in the pinned comments. 2E Advanced Player's Guide. We're almost to some of the spells and stuff. I'm not sure how in-depth I'm going to go there. I kind of went over a lot of those last night. There we go. So in the pinned comment, you can go get it from Amazon. Or if you want to buy it from the link I posted in the chat, you're good to go there. More archetypes. I was telling Paula last night, I feel like I could play this game for more than 5 years without growing tired of it once I've figured out the system fully. Here's all the feats. A home in every port. Prescient planner. I don't know. Thorough search. Super taster. Gain secret checks to detect poison by taste. Like, that's awesome. There you go. Give it away in a contest. That's cool. I think that's a great idea. I am probably going to be ordering it too. So I don't know if Paizo's sending me a review copy or not. If they do, I'll probably give one away at a later time. All right. So those are all the feats. There's a bunch of them. Skip 10 pages. Boom. Spells. So the very first thing that stood out was the very first spell here. Obviously, you guys can't read that because it's probably a little blurry for you. But it stood out to me because a lot of people were talking about how you cannot create a necromancer out of the core rulebook. The very first spell is Animate Dead. So you can now create your necromancer. Camilo says, when can we expect the new Pathfinder 2 Summoner? That is a great question. I have no idea. It's not in this book, though. Not in this book. So some of the spells you get that are new is like Animate Rope, Chilling Spray. You know what? Let's zoom in a little because these are a little hard to read. Deja Vu, Invisible Item, Thoughtful Gift, Animated Assault, Aqueous Orb, Safe Passage, Indestructibility. Nice. Force Cage, Transmute Rock and Mud. Some of the divine ones. Summon Instrument, Animate Dead again. Blood Vendetta, Charitable Urge, Blinding Fury. Vampiric Maiden under Occult. That one sounds kind of cool. Spirit Sense. Primal gets Magic Stone, Noxious Vapors, Pummeling Rubble, Final Sacrifice, Heat Metal. I haven't made a spellcaster yet either, so some of these I'm kind of surprised weren't in the core book, to be honest. Blanket of Stars. A cloak of darkness hides you in the dark and dazzles those who get too close. Ooh, interesting. All right, so there's a bunch of spells. Oh, so some of the spells will use different actions, right? 1, 2, or 3 actions. My favorite thing about some of the spells in this game are when you can choose to use a spell in a variety of ways. Like spell... Okay, so here we go. Magic Stone. Cast as 1 to 3. Now, it's probably because of the amount of targets. Let me see. Yeah, basically you can target one non-magical stone or sling bullet for every action you use casting the spell. So that one's not as exciting, but like sometimes it's a touch spell if it's done as a single action. It's a ranged spell if you do it at 2. It's an area of effect if you do it as a 3. Like that's awesome. Are there new craft rules? That's a great question. I don't think there's necessarily new crafting rules in here, but there are some like new feats that allow you to do different crafting things or get more bonuses to crafting. Like the dwarf gets one. Um, there aren't any new rules per se in this book. Fungal infestation, interesting, right? That just the sound of it sounds like those ants that basically get eaten by fungus and like they're basically it's like a parasite fungus. That's what that reminds me of. Vomit swarm. You belch forth a swarm of magical vermin. You evoke and shape the creatures from your own imagination, allowing you to change the appearance of the creatures. Typically a mix of centipedes, roaches, wasps, and worms. But this doesn't change the effect of the spell. The vermin swarm over anyone in the area, their bites and stings dealing 2d8 piercing damage. A creature that fails its saving throw also becomes sickened 1. Once the spell ends, the swarm disappears. That is cool. And if you heighten it, the damage increases by 1d8. So you can go up to 3d8 and all that good stuff. And that's only a 2nd level spell. It's an evocation spell. Traditions are arcane, occult, and primal. And it's a 30-foot cone. That's a cool one. I like that vomit swarm. Wall of Flesh is a 5th level spell. Yeah, and then we get into focus spells, which we were talking about earlier. That was the art I was talking about last night with the Tengu and the runes. That's a really cool piece, I think. Oh, it's awesome. All right. Thunderburst. You create a powerful blast of air and a loud peal of thunder, dealing 2d6 bludgeoning damage and 2d6 sonic damage. Each creature in the area must attempt a fortitude save. Critical success, the creature is unaffected. Success, the creature takes half damage. Failure, the creature takes full damage and is deafened for 1 minute. Critical failure, the creature takes double damage and is deafened for 1 hour. Heightened, you increase each type of damage by 2d6 and the area by 5 feet. That's a level 3 spell. That's pretty cool. Vomit Swarm, beautifully awful, right? Oh man, love it. Gravity weapons. This is that ranger thing, I think. It's an uncommon evocation. It lasts 1 minute. You build up gravitational force and funnel it into your blows, leading to more powerful attacks with blade and bow alike. On your first weapon strike each round, you gain a status bonus to damage equal to twice the number of weapon damage dice. Nice. That's a 1st level spell. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like some of these focus spells. Rituals. Isn't that the wedding ceremony? Right here. Heart bond. You create a magical bond between 2 willing creatures who are secondary casters of the ritual must share genuine affection for one another. As part of the ritual, both members of the bond receive a ring, amulet, or similar token to symbolize their shared connection. Yep. So heart bond. It's kind of like marrying them. So that's cool. You got the cleric and the rogue. I think they announced that on their blog recently too. There you go. Gravity weapon. Steal it for your Stars Without Numbers game. So this is the other piece of art I was talking about last night, where the treasure hoard. You have the dead red dragon. Like, if you just killed a dead red dragon, didn't you pretty much win at Pathfinder? Like, isn't that the most powerful creature? I don't know. Anyways, that's cool though. Items. So again, a bunch of new items. You get the Tengu Gale Blade. New adventuring gear. New class kits, obviously. So those are cool. Oracle gets a steel shield as an option. That's cool. I didn't know they rock a shield. They're basically like a they're almost like a cleric. Treasure tables, based on what's in this book. So a bunch of new treasure. Good stuff there. Obviously, you guys know in Pathfinder you can create your own magic items. There's a lot of emphasis on buying your own, crafting your own, selling your own magic items, things like that. It's got a lot of that, which I actually think is kind of cool. It allows people to tailor their characters how they want, rather than being at the game master's mercy of whatever they're given. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes that's fun too. It's really cool when you have a game master, like say you're playing like old school D&D or whatever, and you have a game master who wants to give you the cool stuff that you like. That's always exciting. Now, you don't want to just automatically give it to you right away, or you want the surprise of it. You want it at like a time when you're like, oh, it would be really helpful to have this, But yeah, lots of cool stuff. Magic consumables. Ooh, the 4 ways dog slicer. Basically a goblin weapon right there. Can be used by anybody though. +2 striking dog slicer is obviously the work of a brilliant but scrappy artisan who valued versatility over safety. 4 toothy gems line the blade's cutting edge, 3 of which glow, one with fiery red light, one with a chill blue, and one that gives off sparks, while the last is a glistening black. Each of these gems embodies a weapon property rune, but only one rune can be active at a time. Oh, that's cool. I dig it. That little gauntlet thing is cool. What is that called? Lover's gloves? I don't know. It just looks cool. It looks like a wrestler's glove. Rope of climbing. Yup. I like them. I like it. We're almost done. Yep. And that is it. That is the book, guys. So there you go. Gods and Magic. Test your convictions. Good stuff here. Got some other stuff too that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at the Agents of Edgewatch book 1 that I'm going to review and see what I think of it. I'm also going to go over the player's guide to see if it kind of tackles the sensitivity of the issue well or not. To me, my personal opinion, I sympathize with like the movement going on right now, but I also think with like gaming with the adventure path, I don't think it's a big deal if people want to play like the city guard or not, but I'm still going to look into it and put on, from the perspective of, hey, do they offer enough good options here for people to, feel like, hey, if we don't want to play cops, but we like the idea of the adventure besides that, can we do that? So I'm going to read it over, see what I think of it, and then talk about it. So that'll be a future video. So I'm going to check out the player's guide with that, and I'm going to look at the first book of the adventure path and see what I think. So I'm curious about that. But, I did glance at the player's guide last night. It looked fine. It looked like they have some good ideas, but I haven't read it, word for word. There's another adventure that came out. Let me look at what we got going on, what we got coming up, right? So let me open I move stuff to my Google Drive because I download stuff on a different laptop, and then I put it into my Google Drive. So just give me 2 seconds. So yes, here it is. Oops. I did not mean to jump pages. So it's called The Slithering, where you're encouraged to play monster races. You're not supposed to play humans for a specific reason. So every character is non-human. Is that the controversy? You play as cops? Yeah, so you at level 1, you start off as city guard. And you basically police the city until you uncover something, is my understanding of it. And due to the timing of things, a lot of people, got upset about it. They're like, well, now what? You're basically, within the nature of RPGs, you're just going to go around killing things, which kind of just shows like police brutality. I don't know. It's whatever. Like, again, I get it. I do. I understand. I can see why it's terrible timing, but even like before all this, I could see why people had a problem with it. It doesn't bother me personally, but I'm also not in the offended group really, being like a white male. So I understand that. The other thing that I got my hands on is the Lost Omens Legends. This one I've seen people asking a lot of questions about, so maybe I'll do a stream tomorrow or Saturday or something talking about it. It's basically a list of NPCs. That's what the book is. It's just characters, from my understanding, and a lot of lore. Let me look real quick. Let me get to one. It's some people I've heard say, "Oh, it's like the NPC Codex," and no, it's not. It's not like the first edition NPC Codex at all. It's basically just like lore, and then there's some like things that are associated with them. So this first one gives you different items. Like you could have a fiendish teleportation, infernal health, unending youth. I don't know how that works. Again, I haven't read all this, but they're infernal contracts. Legends as player character rules with those NPCs associated organizations. Yeah, exactly, John. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's like the NPC Codex. It's not. It's not at all. And so if you're expecting to get like a bunch of NPC stat blocks and just plug and play in your game, it does not work that way. In fact, I don't think there's any stats for any of these NPCs. It gives you lore, talks about different things going on in their areas or whatever. Some of them, not all of them, have rules associated. So like this one, I'm on another one, it gives you options for feats. For an alchemist, it's Ardoku's Fire. It's a level 6 feat. There's an item for a Sun Orchid Poultice. Again, it's for an alchemist. And then there's a level 20 feat for Wish Alchemy, right? So you get some new things, but it's not a lot. This is mostly a lore book. But I'll probably go through this at some point with people, just because I think a lot of people don't know what it is. I know if I was expecting like the NPC Codex and I got this, I would be like, this is not what I wanted. It's a cool book. Like, I think I'm going to enjoy reading that. I just don't think people out there are going to be excited when they order it expecting something else. So that's all. So I feel like putting it out there and what it actually is will be helpful. Maybe I'll show like one example for people, because it doesn't need much more than that. Blue Dragon RPG, my players are typically good, so I don't see them abusing their positions as city guards. Guess it just depends on the group that's playing. Yeah, and so the Complex Games Apologist, Antoine, he did a video, he's done a few videos on it, talking on his personal Facebook page about the Agents of Edgewatch. And he's like, basically, because of how railroady these things are and how you have to do combat to solve certain things and to kill the big bad guy, you're being forced to use your power to kill things. And he's like, it'd be nice if they put in there de-escalation stuff. Well, I believe they did in the player's guide. They encourage the players to de-escalate situations or to roleplay it how they want. So, his stuff is kind of taken into account, really, right? Whoops. So actually, yeah, they have like maybe 20 or I don't know. How many do they have? Let me look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, there's like probably 20, 25, maybe upwards of 30 characters. Baba Yaga is one of them. Lick-toed Goblins is something in here. Maybe it is less, and some of these are just factions and stuff too. I don't know. Yeah, the Legends book is cool. I like the Lost Omens books. They're really well done, I think. They're well written. They're a little bit smaller. They don't have as many choices as I think some people are hoping for. But roll stats, good idea with the zipper. Again, I think it'll be interesting though to do that video. It won't be a live stream like this. It'll be just a straight video with my thoughts on the player's guide and then the first module of 6 for sure. And because again, I think people need to know, before they make the purchase. Oh, forgot about her. Surprised she is in there. She must have come back. Well, isn't there something about like her and her daughters or her sister or something? Like having like a falling out or something? I don't know. There's something. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in that book though, for sure. It's just mostly lore. Like buy it expecting lore. I feel like that's how you have to go into all the Lost Omens books. Buy it and just expect to be able to read about the setting more than anything. And if that's what you go into it expecting, you'll be pretty happy. But yeah, there's good stuff coming out from Paizo in the next month. Like there's so much. Whether again, Agents of Edgewatch, you want to go and support that path, go for it. The player's guide is free if you want to check that out as well. Go do that. There's good stuff. So, and then I am hoping. So tonight we're going to do a stream. We're going to be mini painting Caladrax again. Caldrax. It's a massive dragon, right? Like just huge, like 3 times the size of my head at least. I think it's like 20 some inches or something when it's put together. We started painting it last night on stream. We're going to be painting that tonight at about 8:30. Probably only go till like 10. Maybe we can get on a little early and go till 10. And it's going to be so cool when it's done. But we do mini painting Wednesdays and Thursdays. Again, if this is your first time, please hit subscribe. Would love to have you around for some of our other streams. Tomorrow night, we have Dicey Encounters on, the owner of that. He's a voice actor. He, I believe, sells dice. Also has like a podcast. So we're going to have him on. We're going to talk about some RPG stuff. And then Saturday, we have Tyranny of Dragons, which Roll Stats is playing in that. We have some other players, I believe. Someone else in chat is playing with us too, I believe. So we've got some people in that. We then, on Monday, we will be talking to Alex Gillette, the owner, one of 3 people that's part of Critical Hit Publishing. Really looking forward to that. He's also on the Roll Up or Die podcast. He's been around the RPG YouTube community for 8-9 years. Awesome guy. Lives in a yurt, so of course we got to ask him about his yurt, right? What else? Dave from Nerdarchy's coming on in a couple weeks. We've also got more mini painting live streams next week, which hopefully next week I'm hoping Paula will be finished because I'm not the mini painter. My wife paints and I do what I'm doing now. I talk to you guys. Yeah, the dragon is looking awesome. If you're a patron, you get access to the images first and foremost. You also get other cool stuff if you're interested. If you do the $50 tier, you get a shirt, VIP shirt. We also have a store where we sell shirts and face masks for COVID and, stickers and all sorts of good stuff. Looking to add some hats. I'd like to get a hat for myself because I love hats. So yeah, we're going to be adding some things there. Also for the patrons, I'm going to be releasing tables. We were talking about this last week. Still have not even got my table for this week done, but I'm going to try and do at least a table a month, like maybe a D10 or a D20 table, or maybe even smaller. It just depends. But those, if you're a $1 tier person, you'll get access to those. Yeah. So anyways, lots of good stuff going on. So if any of that sounds interesting, let me know. You can jump over on our Discord, offer some suggestions, tips. You can see some of the photos. So for example, I took the pictures last night. I sent them to the patrons. Those will probably be up in my Discord today, hopefully in the next couple hours. And then tomorrow or this weekend sometime, I'll throw them up on Instagram. So that's kind of how I do it. I try to give patrons the first glimpse, because they're supporting the channel, so I try to give them a little perk for it, as well as the other perks. So that's it, though. Got nothing else really to say. If you missed the beginning, would love it if you'd go back to the beginning and rewatch. Let me know what you think. And yeah, this is Master of the Game. I am Juice. Game on.